let's go particulars, specifics, and then we'll go big picture in regards to what impact Coach Cristobal's had on the recruiting front. So Jaleel Skinner,
Yep.
an enormous pickup.
Yeah. Yeah.
A flip
Huge.
from Alabama.
Huge. Yeah, and that doesn't happen.
It doesn't
And a
happen.
lot of
Yeah.
the Bama guys are like, oh, well, we didn't want him, and that's okay. That's all right. Hey, listen, either way, you pick Miami. So we could argue whether you want to keep him, whether you cut him off, whether you kept him at arm's length because they already had another tight end committed anyway. So uh, he had been very vocal, Mark, very vocal about the fact that the University of Miami was his lead going into the season, and that because of the season that we were having, he was going to go make the business decision and go to Alabama because we gave him no reason to want to come here based on what we were putting out on as a product. And I mean, heck, he even talked about how Will Mallory, the first half of the season, tight ends weren't playing well at Miami. And then, Will Mallory went on a nice little stint for the rest of the season, hopefully carrying that into this bowl game next week, Friday, against Washington State. But super excited about that. And, it's one of those things where you just get excited and you're happy about where we're going. And Skinner is a big time mismatch. We watched film on the channel last night, a nice breakdown of him because I hadn't seen any film on him. And to be honest with you, he's such a good player. I didn't even want to go there because I'm like, he's not coming here. So there's no need for me to get excited watching this film. And we were only able to pull up his junior film. We hadn't get a chance to see his IMG Academy film. It's not on this huddle. And that's all right. He's already signed, still delivered. He'll be an early enrollee, and he'll be on January 15th. He'll be on Miami's campus. So there's that. So, man, big dude, Mark. Big dude, all of 6'5", 6'6", all of 200 plus. Route running, his speed, his acceleration. You could see a little bit of a David Njoku in him, but a little bit more of Jimmy Graham. I mean, he's just a big mismatch target for the QB, and we're going to be breaking in, of course, the second year starter and TBD if everything goes well, blessings on his health. And if anything were to happen, we'll be breaking in a younger person. And what's one of the most important things to a QB besides pass protection? A young quarterback, a great tight end. He's closer to you. He's usually a mismatch. He's bigger for linebackers and too strong for safeties and big for them. So he's usually a really good matchup across the middle of the field or one-on-one with linebackers. So getting Skinner is a big pickup, and I think they're going to be way more coming down the line here in the next couple of weeks for a return on investment from the big investment we have in Coach Cristobal, both on the football field with recruits and off the football field with the coaching staff.
So much like you trying to dig up video of him this past football season, if you try to dig up stats on him for this past football season, and I actually posted a video when he was signed, you got to go back to the previous football season. So his two previous football seasons, 2019 and 20, 30 catches, 511 yards, and 6 touchdowns at about, they're telling us 25 yards per catch.
I'll take that.
For a tight end.
I'll take that. And that's a good thing. It's a good, and the thing is, what you see in his film as a junior before he went there is he's been mixed up all around the field. He's played some X, he's played some Y, he's played some slot. But you also saw whoever put his highlight tape together did a very good job because there's the bomb plays or there's the Moss plays where he's jumping over. But then he also has a section of pure blocking, Mark, where he's coming in and he's motioning across and ramming on a defensive end. He's taking a linebacker head on, one-on-one, and moving them out of the gap so the running back can cut off of his behind. They did a great job of putting it together. And he seems like more of a complete tight end than the people we've had in the past, like a David Njoku or Jimmy Graham or Clyde Walford, where they are more of just receiving threats. He seems a little bit more balanced, similar to a Christopher Herndon, who's still playing in the National Football League right now because he is a balanced tight end. He's not just a one-trick pony. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. And you're able to match him up. And Mark, to be honest with you, we missed We missed on a big time tight end prospect in Darnell Washington, who picked Georgia a couple years ago. And a lot of people were like, this is what we need as far as someone who's going to maul people off the ball, who we can mix in with the Will Mallory, we can mix in with a Brevin Jordan. And it didn't go in that direction. He went somewhere else. This is a recruiting battle that we ended up winning with. In all honesty, we need a big time tight end because you got Will Mallory, who's agreed to come back for a season. Elijah Arroyo is still a young pup growing. Dominique Memorelli isn't really, life changing. Either is Larry Hodges, and Kalen Broughton to Miami Northwestern tight end is still a young pup. So if we could bring somebody in who can change the game from the size of the mismatches, which we did with Skinner, I think it's a big time gift for Miami.
Before we get to a recruiting loss, near and dear to your heart, we got a deep tackle from USC, Jacob Lickenstein, who's moving in here. I got to admit, I don't know a whole lot about him. I got to say, I didn't really watch USC play any football. There was no reason for any of us to be watching USC play this last year. They just, for as much as they've been wasting talent for about 10 years, at least they've been fielding good teams. This team was awful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm usually watching a lot of USC football, but so I didn't see them. But he turned in a pretty productive 12 games. D tackle, the stats are what they are. You can't completely read into the stats, especially at that position. But 28 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. So he should be able to come in and contribute.
Yeah, I think so. That size is something that we're going to need. Now, the question is, Mark, based on who we're bringing in and who we've been recruiting, is this a tall tale sign of a 3-4 scheme to come? Here's why I say that. You look at Cyrus Moss, borderline 5-star edge rusher out of the West Coast for Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. He's a stand-up outside linebacker. And Miami was top 5. We believe, of course, we're Miami fans, so we're going to think that he's coming here. We think we're in the top 2 conversation, a split between us and USC. Okay. We also signed Najee Kelly, who's a strong side defensive end, but in a 3-4 would be a great scheme fit for a 4-eye technique. We're fighting hard with Georgia with Shamar Stewart, who is another big, strong, stout at the point of attack defensive end who could be the other 4-eye technique. And then you sign this 6'6", 275-pound dude out of USC who could come in and give you a little bit of the reps of that 4-eye, and maybe on passing downs come in as a shade 1 in that 34. So I'm just saying, Mark, it's starting to give a little bit of a tip of the cap to maybe where we're going to go, and we'll see. At the end of the day, we'll scheme. You have to be diverse in your whole approach. This is how the game is nowadays. But you look at how hard we're going after Cyrus Moss. Well, you turn on that film, Mark, and they run a 3-4. He's a stand-up guy. I don't see his hand in the dirt in either of the 2 seasons that we watched on film. So, and then to try to turn him into a true 4-3 defensive end, it's a different read. It's different keys. But you watch that guy Cyrus Moss play, and he's dropping back in alley flats. He's taking on slots. He's rushing the passer out of a wide 9. I think it's a little bit of what we call foreshadowing in the movie industry. Foreshadowing going into what we're going to be moving forward defensively.